Ever notice how some moments in pop culture, especially those tied to LGBTQ plus history, really make you pause and reflect on how much things have changed?
They really do.
Yeah, and like today we're going to kind of dive into one of those stories, the love story of Lance Bass and Michael Turchin.
It's really important to grasp right off the bat is their story is historical, right? They were the very first same-sex couple to get married on cable TV.
Oh, wow, yeah.
I mean, that speaks volumes about how our culture has shifted.
For sure. And what we want to do today is like unpack the whole thing for you, like from the start of Lance's career, back when he was in NSYNC, all the stuff he had to work through personally, behind the scenes, all the way to their wedding and, their family life today.
Right.
We've got some really fascinating details here that'll help us understand their journey, piece by piece.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start with Lance's early career.
Okay, picture this. It's the mid-90s. This young guy from Mississippi joins NSYNC. And all of a sudden, bam, they're a global sensation. You couldn't turn on the radio without hearing like, bye, 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 or it's gonna be me.
Oh, yeah.
Huge hits. Imagine that kind of fame hitting you so young.
Oh, I remember it so well. But what's really interesting when you look into the sources is the huge personal conflict Lance was dealing with right in the middle of all that adoration. The pop music world back then was all about image, being openly gay. Like that just wasn't really an option. Think about the pressure he must have been under.
It's a really good point you bring up about the pressure on public figures, especially in entertainment.
Right.
The sources really stress how tough it was for him emotionally to hide this huge part of himself, during those crazy NSYNC years.
That sounds so isolating. He spent years hiding his sexuality, even dating women publicly to keep up appearances.
Wow.
Then NSYNC takes a break, and he tries all sorts of things. Acting, producing, even training to go to space.
Yeah.
But it seems like he was still searching for some kind of inner peace.
It sounds like it. What the sources seem to suggest is that while those things after NSYNC, might have been fulfilling in some ways, they didn't really address the core issue he was carrying.
Yeah.
It wasn't until he directly confronted his identity that things really started to change for him.
And that brings us to a major moment, his decision to come out publicly.
Right.
This wasn't just some casual announcement. It was a huge step with big implications.
Oh, yeah. His 2006 interview with People magazine was really groundbreaking in many ways. Think about it. Society was different back then, views were changing, but there was still a lot of stigma. For someone as famous as him to come out so openly, that was incredibly brave.
Absolutely. And what's highlighted in the sources is the really positive reaction he got. Fans, other musicians, celebrities, they were mostly really supportive. It's almost like the world was ready for it. And his honesty really struck a chord.
And if we connect this back to the bigger picture, his coming out had a huge impact on LGBTQ plus representation. By that, we mean the visibility of LGBTQ plus people and their stories in the media and public life.
Right.
That visibility is so important for breaking down stereotypes and building understanding.
Yeah, for sure.
For many young LGBTQ plus people who might have been struggling with their own identities, seeing someone as famous and successful as Lance Bass embrace who he was, that gave them hope. It showed them what was possible.
Exactly. So with this new sense of freedom, he starts living his life authentically, which sets the stage for this really beautiful love story with Michael Turchin. So tell us a little bit about Michael for our listeners.
Sure. Michael Turchin, he was born in Miami. He's a painter. He's got this really distinctive pop art style. To give you an idea, pop art often uses bright colors and images from popular culture, making these pieces that are, really eye-catching and easy to recognize. What's especially interesting here, and the sources point this out, is the contrast between Michael, who'd always been open about being gay, and Lance, who'd felt the need to hide it.
It's like two completely different worlds coming together.
Right.
The sources say they first met in 2011 at a friend's party in Los Angeles. Sounds like there's an instant connection.
Yeah, you can almost picture that first conversation.
Totally.
The sources definitely hint at an immediate spark. And what's important to note is that their relationship is described as open and joyful. A total change from what Lance had experienced before when he felt like he had to hide this fundamental part of himself.
It must have been such a relief for Lance to finally be in a relationship where he could just be himself, no holding back. They traveled together, supported each other's careers, really built a life together, and then, of course, the proposal.
Yes. August 31st, 2013, in New Orleans. The sources really emphasize how thoughtful the proposal was. Lance proposed with 2 rings
Oh, wow.
to symbolize the equality in their relationship. It wasn't just a personal milestone, it had this bigger meaning.
It did. And their vision for their wedding was so clear, a celebration of love and progress. They chose the Park Plaza Hotel in LA, and the guest list, which included his NSYNC bandmates, really showed how much this event meant to everyone involved.
And what's really worth thinking about is their decision to share this incredibly personal moment with the whole world. They decided to broadcast their wedding on cable TV, Lance Loves Michael, the Lance Bass wedding on E! In December 2014.
Groundbreaking. Being the first same-sex couple to do that on cable TV, that's huge. The sources talk about how this gave viewers a really intimate look into their love story, all the planning leading up to the wedding, and the emotional vows they exchanged.
This brings up a really important question about visibility.
Right.
By sharing their wedding so publicly, they weren't just celebrating their own love, they were representing something much larger, showing a massive audience that same-sex relationships are normal and beautiful.
Yeah.
It might have even helped normalize these relationships for people who didn't personally know anyone in the LGBTQ+ community.
For sure. And that impact went way beyond just entertainment. It was about showing the world in this really personal way that love is love. The sources then move on to their married life, emphasizing how they continued to support each other's careers.
We see Lance becoming a bigger and bigger advocate for LGBTQ+ rights, working with really important organizations like GLAD and the Trevor Project.
Yeah.
And Michael keeps developing his painting career, even using their love story as inspiration for some of his work.
They really did become role models, showing what marriage equality looks like in real life every single day. And then their journey took this really beautiful turn, the decision to start a family. The sources describe how open they were about going through surrogacy.
Their openness about the surrogacy process is really important.
Yeah.
It helped make it less mysterious, more normal for other LGBTQ+ couples who might be thinking about similar options.
Exactly.
Announcing in 2021 that they were having twins, that must have been a joyous moment for them and for everyone following their story.
Totally. And then the arrival of their twins, Violet and Alexander, in October 2021. The sources describe them embracing parenthood with such love, openly sharing their experiences as a same-sex couple raising children. It's a really beautiful development in their story.
What's especially meaningful is how they've handled parenthood in the public eye. They offer real insights into both the huge joys and the inevitable challenges. Their love for their kids really shines through in the sources.
Of course, like any couple, they've faced challenges, the pressures of Hollywood, balancing work and family. But the sources really highlight their constant support for each other through it all. It speaks volumes about their bond.
And ultimately, their love story, as the sources conclude, is a powerful testament to progress, acceptance, and being true to yourself.
It really does.
It shows that love has no boundaries, no limits.
It all comes back to that televised wedding, doesn't it? It wasn't just a reality show. It was a moment that reflected bigger changes in society, more acceptance, and increasing visibility for LGBTQ+ people and their relationships.
Absolutely. Their journey is a powerful reminder of how far we've come and how much of an impact public figures can have when they share their truth.
Right.
It makes us think about the progress that's been made and all the work that's still left to do.
So for you, our listener, maybe this deep dive into Lance and Michael's story makes you think about the power of authenticity.
Yeah.
Think about the ripple effects when people bravely share their truth, how those ripples can lead to big changes. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it, about all the stories that are still out there waiting to be told and the progress that's yet to come.
I think so.
Yeah, me too.